Buckle up for the Money Vehicle Movement podcast. I'm Jeddediah Collins, your host and driving instructor on this journey through speaking the language of money. Twists, turns, and avoiding those money potholes, we'll cover it all on our road trip to financial freedom. Engines ready? Then let's drive.
American households are more than $17 trillion in debt, according to the latest quarterly report from the Federal Reserve. Only half have an adequate Corona cushion, as we call it in Money Vehicle. You may know this better as an emergency fund. And the continual stream of low earnings are leaving lasting damage on millions of people. This all begs the question, why don't we put significant resources into reversing some of these trends by teaching students personal finance in schools and fostering a generation of financially literate, confident consumers, or better yet, capitalists? Welcome into the Money Vehicle Movement, where we talk money and mindset. Today's episode, we will present the challenges of a financial literacy curriculum going across the nation. We will introduce the program today from a 30,000-foot view, not to sell you on anything, but to share what it is we are doing here at Money Vehicle and why we are using this method to continue to share the Money Vehicle movement. Last, we'll provide an overview of 7 different types of learners and the different approaches that can be taken to meet their learning style. Let's start driving. Recent data from the civic science shows that only 30% of Americans would call themselves financially literate with a high degree of confidence. With that in mind, it seems like a no-brainer. The United States needs a national financial literacy curriculum that can be aligned to different state standards, integrate with schools' learning management systems, adequately prepare educators to deliver this message, engage the student into taking action, and perhaps above all, work within the confines of a district's budget. Fortunately, we're seeing some progress on this front. Almost 30 states now have some form of personal financial education at the high school level in public schools. Education technology, perhaps given an unexpected and rough test ride during the pandemic, is opening new avenues for school districts and administrators. Technology is currently leading to disruption in the education space, which, while it may be a painful evolution, is leading to positive possible outcomes. But there remain 5 major challenges facing schools who are looking to adopt a financial literacy curriculum that administrators, teachers, parents, students, and community stakeholders need to be aware of. Challenge number 1, aligning to state standards. Unsure of why each state views money differently? All for local control here, but money doesn't change going from state to state. And with this, there really needs to be a national standard created. I get every state wants to have their own 2 cents put into it, but as we look at as a student, when I graduate, I can move anywhere in the country. My paycheck is going to be the same, and my use of that paycheck is going to be the same. So why the different standards? Eventually, a national curriculum standard must come to light. Challenge number 2, integrating with existing school technologies and systems. Student privacy remains an immense priority. So having a platform where the school comes to you is not probably going to be a solution for the future. You must meet schools where they are and make it as easy as possible while maintaining their minors' privacy and information. This means your technology will have to integrate into the school's learning management system, function with their rostering, and keep all information in one place, not consuming it, absorbing it, and then making the student part of your monetization and part of your product. Challenge number 3, training the educators. Nothing gets done in the classroom without the teacher. This new subject will require lots of professional development, not only on the subject matter of financial literacy, but also on the educators themselves. This is a topic, a subject, a thing that they never went to school to learn, and many are in the masses that are not financially literate. So providing this, again, through technology will be key for mass adoption. We have to empower are educators. Challenge number 4, focusing on a target audience, high school classrooms. We have to engage high school students, which, ask anybody in the country, is a very, very big mountain to climb. We have to see that they are our audience, not take subject matter or resources or tools that are free or have already been developed and push them into a classroom, but truly create a conversation, a curriculum, and a content engaging this audience. In the past, financial literacy has been handed out to the lowest bidder because it was a nice to have resource. We've seen the results of those. Today, as it moves to core curriculum, we need a program that will entertain the students while providing the opportunity for each student to apply this newfound knowledge into their future and into their lives. Challenge number 5, budgeting for this new curriculum. All of this will have to be completed with, again, its intended audience of school districts in mind. If there are outside sponsors available to subsidize, great. But as this becomes a required curriculum, the curriculum itself should be able to be sustained within the school's budget. Despite all of these challenges, the nationwide movement to instill financial literacy education as a part of the core curriculum is gaining momentum. For too long, people have wondered, why don't we teach financial literacy in school? You've seen the social media memes. I've seen the social media memes. And all of this will connect to a much more impactful graduate and impactful student and ready for their career. Today, the question of why is being answered with dozens and dozens of states now requiring it. Administrators nationwide are figuring out what should be covered in their standards, but it will be up to educators and entrepreneurs to figure out how to deliver this nationwide financial literacy curriculum. If we can balance the curriculum and the creativity, be open to new forms of delivery, and welcome the community of support, it is possible that we will see a financially literate and confident generation grow up before our eyes. Let's pivot now to our curriculum focus today. Each episode, we're going to focus on one aspect and one piece of the Money Vehicle curriculum. Today, it is going to be a 30,000-foot view of the Money Vehicle topics because we want to introduce this curriculum as a possible opportunity for a nationwide curriculum. So let's get started. Well, where does any good journey begin? You got to grab your car keys before you can even open the door. So Money Vehicle begins with your keys, your income. And this idea of how you are going to generate a higher income throughout your life begins with identifying your desired lifestyle. That is such a key piece of this entire program, is identifying what you want for you. Before you even see your income, you should see what life you want to live and how you want to go about that. So as we look at that income topic, beginning with our desired lifestyle, we'll then pivot to earning versus creating your income. My primary earned income versus creating new sources of income. We have to discuss this inflation monster that is going to be a part of all of our lives. And here in 2022, 2023, inflation is a subject that we were at least introduced to, even if we didn't fully understand. But it is the premise of why financial literacy is needed now more than ever, because our plans are breaking even without us spending more technically. Last but not least, we look at this income subject and we realize so much is around the student identifying themselves as their greatest asset. We introduce a mindset called Be a Pro, where they are going to become more confident, build trust, and look to add value in everything that they do. As you go from your income, you got to begin to understand where you're headed in your journey. That is going to be chapter 1, our GPS, or our goal setting. The question, why do I even care about money, must be answered by the student. You set your goals, and they begin by identifying how the money vehicle has changed in the last 30 years. Finances, money has shifted to being dependent on the individual. And this is going to be seen as you set your goals and you set your priorities. As we go on, we're going to start to make our vehicle start to move, those gas and brake pedals. This concept is going to be our time value of money. We have to begin this concept with understanding how money creates money. And so how we're going to get introduced to the interesting things about interest. Then we can see and understand the eighth wonder of the world of compounding that interest, a term so many people hear, few really understand, and even less actually apply. But that eighth wonder of the world, compound interest, is going to be a crucial element of making our money vehicle journey go. Then we get to introduce, again, a mindset, a psychology. What type of or are you? A spendor, savor, investor, identifying how long you actually see money, and then landing with this knowledge of gas and brake pedal. How can money start to work against us and slow us down, and how a loan works and begins to be amortized? Once we get our car moving, our vehicle in motion, we have to focus on our cash management. This is where we grab the steering wheel and start to direct our turns and twists along our journey. It begins with opportunity costs. You have turnoffs on every direction. Which one should I take? Habits. How am I going to repeatedly find success through my habits? And then we introduce one of our pillar concepts of the 5 money buckets. We have our society, past, present, future, and our compassion. Perhaps one of the biggest messages of Money Vehicle is that compassion piece, because money is a vehicle to make you who you are. It is not who you are. You see how your priorities, how your money values come out in your understanding and use of your money. That compassion choice will be a big one. Then we look for a place to park. We've been moving, we're rolling along, we're making our turns, but at the end of every day, we got to find a safe place to park our car. That's going to be in a garage. That garage represents our foundational accounts. This is where we get to introduce the difference between a bank and a credit union. We get to show the 2 main types of accounts in checking and savings. And then we get to connect those accounts efficiently into our cash management system and start to utilize these accounts on a day-to-day basis, sometimes automatically and unconsciously. The efficient use of our garage is going to be a big takeaway. Even if not the most fun or coolest topic, it is an essential piece to your plan. Once we get all those things in place and you're moving, you're parked, a lot of people say, well, where do most people make their first mistake? In a real car, that's not checking your oil. That oil represents our credit. If you don't check your credit, that's going to be your first big mistake as well. So as we identify the difference between debit in your bank account and your credit with a credit card, we have to be able to see where the credit trap comes and how to begin to avoid it. Once you have started to avoid the credit trap and are using credit wisely, you then get introduced to this concept of your financial reputation, how people learn and start to understand who you are based on your money reputation. That is your credit score. And as we get into credit reports, credit scores, and really this lasting reputation of how it will impact the rest of your life, you begin to see the importance of getting started with a credit card, not avoiding the topic, but understanding and using it to your advantage throughout your life. Finally, we land in the investment chapter, the engine, the powerful roar that every student wants to start talking about. But we begin with our principles, following the golden rule, understanding risk and return, and identifying our investment emotional trap that can be laid. Sure, we will understand and come to the free money, investing's free lunch in diversification and the concept of how in investments and our income and our friends in every aspect, we can and should practice diversification. Then we get into how students will begin their investment journey through bonds and through stocks. And the concept every money vehicle student walks away with is our investment philosophy in 2 words: be average. We'll get more into that later on. Now that we started to introduce risk in investments, we got to start to see how you're going to handle risk and remove hazards to your wealth through your insurance policies. These are going to be your airbags, your seatbelts on your journey. And you have to begin by asking, why do I even need insurance? So we will go through different types of risk management. Then we will discuss how do you begin to pay for insurance? How do you break down an auto insurance policy? Because most of our students begin understanding insurance through their actual vehicles and cars. And last but not least, we will introduce two different types of insurance, but also warn against the idea you don't need all insurance coverage today. Insurance is only good for things that you need it for. As we look at the risk of insurance, we have to identify this new attack as we see cyber security. Setting a powerful car alarm is going to be an essential piece of our financial journey. The attack has changed from the bank line to online. And we have to begin to understand with this new online attack, we're going to be introduced to phishing, different forms of phishing and ways we need to begin to proactively defend ourselves online, starting with our first line of defense and our first car alarm, a strong password. As we look around on our journey, we take for granted the roads, the police, the things that we are not really appreciating, but we are being provided. This is where we introduce our taxes. What good do taxes do is why we shifted the term taxes to our society choice within the money bucket system. We want students to see the positive of this society choice. Then we'll go from gross to net income. We'll introduce the progressive income tax code. And finally, to answer again all of those memes, we have to start filing these taxes. But as you begin to file your taxes, your questions come, how do I save? How do I be strategic? How do I learn the language of money and make it work for me? Introducing our next chapter, are tax advantage accounts. You look at your vehicle and you want to make it more efficient, you make it a hybrid. You look at your money vehicle, you want to make it more efficient, you make it a tax advantaged account. This hybrid offering, this account will give you benefits as you use it more, it will provide more. We differentiate between the traditional brokerage account, a 401k, an IRA, and that new term of a Roth account, landing on why every student should have a Roth account within their financial plan. Last but not least, we start to look at a journey. And across every journey, you're going to need a stop and a tune-up. You're going to need to reflect and review on where you're going and where you've been. Now that you're speaking the language of money, we should start to look at what that tune-up is in your pay stub. You start to understand what is happening, what is being communicated on that pay stub and impacting your paycheck. And with the main understanding that our journey has just begun, we will all need to have these check-ins along the way of our money vehicle journey. That is the basis and the comprehension of what a national financial literacy curriculum can cover and what Money Vehicle and our message is proud to share we have available today. Understanding the challenges of a national curriculum and seeing the scope and depth and breadth of the 12 topics that a curriculum can and should cover, we get introduced to the idea that every student in every classroom is going to be different. It's going to be unique. And so how do you take content curriculum and translate it into different styles and forms of different types of learners? Learners that are writers, learners that are readers, watchers, learners that are listeners or talkers, learners that are creators, or learners who only care about things that are current or cool. 7 different types of learners have to be addressed within a true curriculum. And it begins with that traditional idea of readers. Now, we all know most students today are not reading as a primary way of learning, but it is the basis of what they are understanding. So we have to begin by creating a full through-line textbook. This is a text written with a tone and a message for the high school audience, not a standardized kind of version of talk that they don't understand and they won't engage to, but more a message and a messenger that is talking straight to the student. As we've seen an evolution of learning, we've seen video and watchers become a primary source. And so with this textbook, you have to have all of the curriculum translated through entertaining and engaging video format, typically about 3 to 5 minutes in length because of attention spans today, and truly translating all of the things that are written in that text on screen. Next, you say, well, what about those who want to write, take notes, and can go through the program line by line as if they were writing it? That is where a workbook we call the owner's manual. You get an owner's manual when you purchase a car. You get an owner's manual when you purchase a money vehicle. And so as you look at this workbook, it will be a line-by-line documentation of your journey with exercises and extension activities and some projects to boot. Next, we look at that learner who says, I just want to listen. Just let me hear what people are talking about before I engage and before I get involved. To them, we take that textbook and provide a text-to-speech option that allows the student to listen to the curriculum before they start to engage and interact. If I'm not a listener, but I am a talker, we wanted to provide an in-class conversation that is presented to our educators through their facilitator slides. These facilitation slides present an in-class dialogue based on conversations, not lectures, and really being led by the student and teacher alike, going everything from questions and answers to in-class surveys to a help a friend out questionnaire where you get to become the teacher and explain to a peer something that you just learned. Now we're moving from the talker to the creator. What if I want to put myself and make all of this knowledge actually applicable and make it more of a creative project? We introduce the character project where they will take an action from each chapter, a specific action, as well as input all of their choices through the money bucket decision into a dashboard and provide them to truly create a financial plan. Those creators will create an avatar, create a character of who and what they want to become in the future based on where they want to live and how much they want to make, and all of the actions that they're going to be taken throughout the money vehicle curriculum and delivering it with a financial plan as their final project. Last but not least, you look at the kids who say, I just want something current. I want something to connect with me. I want something pretty cool. This is why we are launching this podcast, to directly connect to that last learner and to say we are going to give you current events, we're going to give you current updates, we are going to make the curriculum come to life, and we're even going to add some cool guests along the way. Some of my network, some of our team's network is going to bring in subject matter experts, entertainers, athletes, and social media influencers to communicate this message. We know every student is unique. We know the way they learn and the way they are going to live is unique as well. So we wanted to provide this idea of the challenges a national curriculum will face and an opportunity to say every style of these 7 types of learners is going to be addressed within the money. That is all we have time for today on the Money Vehicle Movement. Could not thank you enough for listening, for engaging, and hopefully for bringing this into your classroom to deliver a new form of financial literacy. Give us a like, continue to subscribe. Next episode, we're going to dive into the traditional format this podcast will start to take, where we are going into the Money Vehicle curriculum, starting as the program does with the income chapter. So stay tuned, keep driving your money vehicle, using money, and making sure that your financial plan is set and ready. See you next time.